Welcome back to N's NotebookLM. So, when you hear the word Shaolin, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably those incredible martial artists, flying through the air, breaking bricks. But what if I told you the real power of Shaolin has almost nothing to do with fighting? Today, we're going to dive into that ancient wisdom, not as a combat style, but as a super practical guide for mastering our crazy modern lives, all based on the teachings of Shaolin master Shi Heng Yi. Right off the bat, let's just get this out of the way. All those amazing physical things you see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Think of it as the expression of a much, much deeper practice, not the actual goal. We're going to look right past the fist and into the philosophy. And this is the heart of it all. It's a central teaching that Shi Heng Yi talks about. Shaolin is Chan, not Quan. Now, Chan means meditation. It's all about cultivating your inner world. Quan, on the other hand, that's the fist, the physical martial art. See the difference? The real tower, the real strength, it comes from training your mind. The external stuff is just a tool to help you get there. Okay, to make this real, let's get a little personal, just for a second. How well are you really sleeping these days? I mean, honestly. And how's your general mood been? Think about your day so far. Were you actually there for it? Were you making active choices? Or were you just kind of running on a pre-programmed script, just reacting and going from one thing to the next without thinking? And all of that leads to the biggest question of all. Who is actually driving your life? Is it really you with clarity and purpose? Or is it your old habits, your moods, your unchecked emotions? Well, the Shaolin Spirit offers a way to grab that steering wheel back. So what exactly is this Shaolin Spirit we're talking about? At its core, it's a pretty radical idea. Instead of trying to control every little storm life throws at you, which is impossible, by the way, you build an inner strength so deep and so powerful that no storm can shake you. You stop trying to change the world outside and you start changing your ability to meet it. This really breaks it down into two totally different ways of living. Most of us, if we're honest, are on that common path on the left. We're always trying to change our circumstances, fix other people, get a different job. We're constantly reacting to the waves of life. The Shaolin path? It's the complete opposite. It's all about strengthening your inner world so you can stand above the waves, totally unshaken by praise or criticism, success or failure. You become the master of your own inner state, not a victim of your outer world. Okay, that sounds great. But how do you actually do it? How do you build that inner fortress? The Shaolin answer is so simple and so profound. You start with the body. You see, the mind and body aren't separate things. The founder of Shaolin Buddhism at Shaolin Bodhidharma, he figured this out centuries ago. He realized that to get monks to train their minds for hours of meditation, you first had to discipline and strengthen their bodies. You just can't have one without the other. And the foundational practice for this whole thing is something called zhanzhuang. It literally translates to standing like a post, or way more poetically, standing like a tree. And it sounds almost ridiculously simple. You literally just stand still. But inside that stillness, oh man, there is a whole universe of inner work happening. This is ground zero for building that rock-solid foundation both physically and mentally. And this is the goal, captured in this amazing metaphor from Shi Heng Yi. The German oak is legendary for its deep roots and its incredible strength. That's what you're cultivating with a practice as simple as standing. You're building that same quality inside yourself, that deep, rooted stability that lets you withstand any storm, whether it's a crisis at work or a problem in your personal life. So what are you actually doing while you're just standing there? Well, it's an intensely active process. First, you're constantly observing your physical structure, your posture, making these tiny little adjustments. Second, you scan your whole body, looking for that unconscious tension we all hold, in your shoulders, your jaw, and you just let it go. And finally, you watch every single impulse that pops up. An itch on your nose, a sudden urge to shift your weight, a random thought about dinner. You just watch it come and go without reacting. It's basically a masterclass in meditation, all while standing perfectly still. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This physical foundation, this simple act of standing, it becomes the training ground for your character. There's this concept called wudi, or martial morality. And the key insight here is that virtues, things like discipline, patience, humility, they aren't things you just read about in a book and understand. No, they are trained. They are forged in the fire of physical and mental challenge. Think about it like this. You're holding a really tough stance, right? And every single muscle in your body is screaming at you to stop. But you don't. you hold it for just one more second. That's not just physical training. That is you actively training your will. When you show up every day and do the practice, even when you don't see immediate results, you're training patience. And when a teacher corrects your form and you swallow your pride and just accept it, that's training humility. The body literally becomes a laboratory for your spirit.
But, of course, this path is not a walk in the park. It's hard. We all face these internal obstacles. The Buddhist tradition calls them the 5 hindrances, and they're basically the universal challenges that cloud up our minds and stop us from finding any real clarity.
And one of the biggest hindrances, one that I'm sure we all know very well, is restlessness. It's perfectly described by the German term Affengeist, or, as we usually call it, the monkey mind. You know that state, right? Where your brain just will not shut up. It leaps from thought to thought, from a worry about the future to a regret about the past, never ever just staying in the present moment, which is the only place life is actually happening. It starts so innocently. Just one little thought pops into your head. Maybe it's about an email you forgot to send. Simple enough. But before you can even really notice it, that one thought about the email has already branched off into 2 more. Now you're thinking about what your boss will say and what that means for that project next week. And pretty soon, it's not one thought anymore. Your mind is a full-blown chaotic storm. You're not in charge anymore. You're just getting tossed around in the sea of anxieties and to-do lists. And in that state, forget about clarity, forget about peace. Focused action is basically impossible. This right here is the state of the untrained mind. So, what's the point of all this training? What's the ultimate goal? Well, the most profound part of this whole philosophy is that the goal is the path. There isn't some finish line you cross where you're suddenly enlightened. It's all about how you live, day in and day out, with intention, with clarity, and with a sense of preparedness. And this all leads to one of the most powerful and memorable ideas from the Shaolin tradition. Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Just let that sink in for a second. What does it mean? It means you cultivate your strength, your discipline, your focus, your resilience during the good times, during times of peace. You don't wait for a crisis to start training. You become a warrior in the quiet, calm garden of your daily life, so that if war ever does come, in whatever form, you are ready. And that leaves us with a final, really crucial question to reflect on. Your war probably won't be a physical battle. It might be losing a job, or facing a health scare, or navigating a difficult relationship. The real question is, what challenges are you building your inner strength for right now? Ultimately, the Shaolin Spirit isn't about becoming some kind of superhuman. It's about becoming fully human, with a mind and a body that are working together, strong, united, and ready for whatever life throws your way. If this topic has captured your interest and you'd like to dive deeper, the book is called The Shaolin Spirit, Master Your Life by Shi Heng Yi.